many here are nearly obsessive internet users? Oh boy, even more than I expected. How about religious Google or whatever your favorite search engine? I got a few people there. I have people at work that use it for nearly, from calculators to settle lunchtime bets. How many feel Google is making them stupid? Okay, we got one taker, two takers. In July 2008, The Atlantic published an article called "Is Google Making You Stupid?" by Nicholas Carr. And the basic premise was that people are forming a kind of amnesia called the Google effect, that people don't have to remember facts anymore when they can just look it up with their search engine. It's kind of like the idea of you don't have to know too much about Civil War because you can just go on Google and find out basic facts. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, Google has made me stupid. We bought a house about 2.5 years ago here in Birmingham, and we had some workers doing some work around the house, and down in the basement there was this beep, beep, beep. It gets a little annoying after a while, and the workers were trying to work around it. Beep, beep, beep. They eventually found the problem. It was the battery backup in the sump pump, and eventually went beep, 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 because they unhooked it. I eventually had to go out and get a new battery backup, but I had this battery that was an old style battery backup, where it had the battery, and then it was plugged into, hooked into sulfuric acid. I don't really know, I didn't know that much about it, but I got a new battery backup, but I had to figure out what to do with this battery. And so I went to my trusty friend Google, what to do with how to recycle a battery, and in 0.2 seconds I had my answer. Batteries Plus in Birmingham recycles batteries. I went in the next day, dropped it off, no questions asked. They take the battery and Google saves the day. Then I got this other problem though. Now I have a bag of sulfuric acid. So again, I go to my know-it-all friend, Mr. Google, and ask what to do with sulfuric acid. And in 0.24 seconds, I have 1.44 million results. I didn't go through all those, but I went through the first page or two. And basically, the idea was that you take your acid, you dilute it with water, you add some baking soda, and you pour it down the drain. Okay, I can do that. That doesn't seem that complicated. At this point, I planned to do it the next day. My wife was a little skeptical. I heard a few laughs. My wife was a little skeptical this was going to be a good idea. I assured her, don't worry, Google told me I could do it. I wait till about dusk, and I get out I pull out a 55-gallon garbage can, and I put on my dishwashing gloves, and I put on my mask, which was also my scuba diving mask. And you can kind of see why I waited till dusk. So the neighbors didn't exactly see what was going on there. It was a little embarrassing. But I even checked out where to dump my neutralized acid down in the sewer. I had it all checked out. I thought I really had this figured out. I get the 55-gallon garbage can out. I start to put in 9 gallons of water, holding it with the garden hose, and that looks like enough. And I, make sure I got my mask on because I'm totally freaked out about sulfuric acid. I cut the bag in, make sure it doesn't get on me. And I'm like, okay. I take my baking soda, just put a little baking soda in there. Oh, it's actually kind of half open. And bubbles, foams up. Okay, I know this isn't good. Box 2, box 3, I go through 8 boxes. That was all the store had. So I knew I was in a little bit of trouble. And so, at this point my wife is pretty much convinced I am stupid at this point. And she re-Googles it and says, and finds out the answer, whatever you do, don't pour it in the drain. Like, okay, that would have been helpful before I just now made 10 gallons of acid. And so I don't really know what to do at this point because I had 10 gallons of acid. And I don't know if anyone knows how much 10 gallons weighs. 83.5 pounds. I Googled it. Fortunately, my wife also Googled it and found out that there was a recycling center actually in Oakland County, not close to the Meyer here in Troy. And all you have to do is make an appointment, you can drop it off. And I'm like, I'm stressed about this, so I'm feeling good about this. It's too late to call, and frankly, I wasn't going to use my own phone anyway, because nothing good was going to come from that. So the next day I call, and from someone else's phone, hello? I have some acid I need to get rid of. Like, how much is it? It's a gallon, but I mixed 9 gallons of water with it, and it's a 55-gallon container. Is it leaking? No, it's not leaking. Long pause, a little worried. Oh, fine, just bring it in around noon. So I'm feeling good. I'm finally kind of a little relieved that I'm going to get rid of this problem. But I have 83.5 pounds to try and figure out how to get there. Fortunately, I go home, I shrink wrap it, and mix, just make sure that nothing ever is going to spill out of this thing, the best I could. Physically load it into the minivan, drive very, very carefully to the recycling center, pull up, I'm in my suit, tie and everything, in a minivan. I pull up in behind all the garbage trucks and all the industrial trucks, and I'm just waiting on, I have no idea what I'm doing. I finally, it's kind of my turn to talk to somebody. I pull up onto the scale, and they sort of jump out and tell them, like, I have some battery to drop off. And they're like, oh, okay, go talk to Bob. He's down to the right. Like, okay, I talked to Bob. He's like, I'm totally embarrassed. I got 55 gallons shrink wrapped with green. He's just I get it out, hand it to him. He's like, oh, okay, just sign here. I kind of reluctantly, I don't know why, I actually signed my own name. I was convinced they were going to ask for a driver's license or something, so I actually signed my own name, and nothing happened, so it was fine. And that ended my sulfuric acid adventure. I was totally stressed and relieved to get that over with. But there's a few valuable lessons I kind of learned during this. First of all, even if Google tells you that, gives you the answer in 0.2 seconds, maybe you shouldn't believe everything it tells you. Secondly, Google's kind of like a teenager. You have to ask the right question at the right time to maybe get some sort of valuable result. And finally, sometimes your wife actually is the voice of reason, particularly when you're channeling your inner Tim Allen. That Toastmaster.